This is Money Talk 1310 and 100.9. Welcome to the Real Estate PB&J Hour, hosted by Realtors Paul Fuqua and Joyce Carcaise, who are experts in the fundamentals of buying and selling homes and other real estate properties. Now, here's Paul and Joyce.
Well, welcome back. We're going to welcome ourselves back, but we also hope that we have some repeat members of the audience out there. We're going to really specialize on PB&J, the fundamentals, and you're at the Real Estate PB&J Hour, 1310 AM and 100.9 FM. I'm Paul Fuqua, and my business partner at Rose & Womble is?
Joyce Carcaise.
Joyce is the resident expert on statistics. Joyce, I know there have been changes in the market since last week. Can you update us?
Yeah, I think we've been hearing a lot in the news about the rise in interest rates, but overall for the Hampton Road selling market, it's still strong. It's a seller's market. Holly Robinson of Advanced Financial Group will be here to talk with us a little bit later in the show and give us a little more detail on that. But in general, we are still seeing 2,700 active residential listings in the Hampton Roads area on a weekly basis, and that's been consistent over the past few weeks. In fact, kind of an interesting stat there is that 2,200 homes closed in just the past 30 days.
I got a question for you. Is there an average or a median price for this area that kind of give a guideline for the folks to determine where their house would fit and where their potential purchase would fit?
There is. Overall, the median price for a residential property in Hampton Roads, and that includes the south side as well as the peninsula, is about $290,000. That's what the sale price has been. And that's up about 5.6% from the same time a year earlier, 2020.
Can we apply that to specific jurisdictions like Chesapeake and Norfolk and Virginia Beach?
Yeah, and actually we've got a much higher average sales price. Chesapeake, we're looking at $364,000, up about 11.9% year over year. Virginia Beach, $378,000, up almost 5% from the previous year. And with both of those areas, that's about a 75% selling within 30 days.
So basically from the statistics, there is pressure on the market. The pressure is going to be there as long as there continues to be a shortage of resale properties. Now, I saw in today's paper that the new home sales in December of 2021 was phenomenal nationally and also in this area. But what about the peninsula? How's it going over there?
Well, the peninsula is actually seeing some pretty significant increases as well. Hampton, we're looking at about $240,000, up 5.3% from 2020. Newport News is about $247,000. And York is actually averaging about $379,000, up about 6.6%. And again, on the peninsula, we're looking at about a 75% sale rate within 30 days of listing.
Now, when we talk about the average versus the median is that number that is dead in the middle of all the sales ranges, and the average is different. So your median can be lower or higher than the average, really predicated on how many high-end properties or how many low-end properties sold, because that affects the average more significantly than the median.
Yeah, it absolutely does.
Now, Carolina, are they doing well down there?
They are doing very, very well. They're actually up about 14.7% with an average home sale price of $428,000. And that's, we've seen it. There are so many new builds down in Moyock and Currituck. That's where you're seeing the bulk of these listings and the sold homes.
And we're almost at the end of January. What about our listing count in contrast to the end of December? Still as crazy?
It is. We've got about 2,800 listings on average. In December, we were looking at 3,800 monthly listings. So pretty significant drop.
I guess I've got to ask this because we are always contrasted with the national averages. It seems as though our market is a little behind changes in the other parts of the country. Are there, in terms of a house going on the market, is there any statistic that relates to how many offers you get? For instance, we had one that we'll go over a little later where we had 6 offers in the first 2 days. Is that average, or
within the first 24 hours?
Oh, well, I was in Florida, so you handle those.
Yeah, I don't have any of those local stats. Still looking for that. But nationally, the National Association of Realtors actually came out with a confidence index survey, and they found that it's an average of 3.8 offers, and that was in November of last year that they were seeing. And 40% of those sales were actually, they had bid offers above the list price.
Where are all these people going? Is everybody moving out of California to Virginia Beach or to Texas or to Oregon or Colorado? Where are they going?
To the suburbs. They're leaving and they're coming to the suburbs, small towns, rural areas, or resort areas. And I know we've personally seen a lot of that. We've seen actually people coming up from South Carolina, from Northern Virginia, from New Jersey, and we continue to see that influx. And the rationale behind that is they want more land. They don't want to feel confined into a certain space, especially if they're renting apartments or living in condos in the city. So definitely seeing the influx into the suburban areas. In fact, nationally, 88% of buyers purchased in the small towns.
That's a national statistic.
Yeah.
Well, I think my wife wants to be one of those. She keeps talking about moving over to the Shenandoah Valley, and I would love to live on a mountaintop at some point, but it's a long way from a lot of good stuff like the theater and things of that nature. I wonder how there are cultural backwashes in this country. Let me ask you a question, because last week I kind of stymied you because I mentioned for sale by owners. Historically, when there's a strong market, there's generally been a growth in the number of people who put their own signs out in front of their yards. Were you able to get anything on the for sale by owner market in this country?
Well, I actually was.
Oh, congratulations.
But it's from a national perspective again. I have not gotten this from the local. But we're looking at first sale by owners probably accounted for about 7% of home sales, according to the National Association of
That's
Realtors
all?
again. 7%. But, and this is what's always interesting, when we have conversations with clients, the typical FSBO is what we call them, sold for $260,000 compared to $318,000 for an agent-assisted home sale. Now, why is that, Paul?
In most instances, I think that the sellers look in the wrong areas for the trending on how to price their homes. I can recall there was an occasion when I went and knocked on a door of a gentleman who just stuck the for sale by owner sign in his yard. And he happened to be a neighbor, and I said, "Hi, how are you? I'm Paul Fuqua. I sell a lot of houses." And he says, "I'm not going to hire you. I'm not going to pay you the 3%." I said, "Well, before you even say anything more, what are you asking for the house?" And he rattled off a number, and he was $80,000 under market. I told him, "I'm going to buy your house." He said, "No, you're not." I said, "No, I'll buy your house. I'll give you a contract today for your full list price, and the only condition is that I will have it under contract, and I'm going to list it." On the market and for a little more money than that. And he said, let me think about it. And he thought about maybe 15 minutes, and he said, okay. Well, he became very angry when we went to closing and he saw how much money I was able to make because he didn't want to list with me. So I was able to collect my commission, and I also was able to make a profit off the man who didn't want to pay me 3% to make certain that all those returns were in his pocket. And that's, I think, the biggest failure of a seller today who puts that sign in his market. And I also don't think he can compete with us. Would you agree with that? You're the marketing guru.
I think that's true, but I also think it's, when you assess a house and you walk in to see what it is needs to be fixed, you want to focus on the two key areas, right? It's going to be the kitchen and the master bedroom, which are the big selling points for a home, as well as making sure that the crawl space is up to par. It's got to be, make sure that you've got that all cleared, and also with the roof. So some key areas. A lot of times people are watching your, on the home channel.
Oh, yeah, all of the fixer-uppers and the flips. And
yeah.
The one thing they never account for, folks, is when you watch those, they'll be calculating their profit, and they will not take the cost of sale into account. There are costs of sale for a seller. For instance, in the state of North Carolina, there's a 1% grantor's tax. In Virginia, it's 0.1%, significant difference. But that's 1% right off the gross. If you have realtors involved, there's no less than 5% in most instances, and it may well be 6 or 7%, depending upon your market. And there are other costs associated with your actual closing. You're going to have counsel. You're going to have deed prepared. There has to be, and other items that come about. So we generally tell our clients that when you're selling your home, you should take at least, at the very beginning, 7% right off the top as a cost of sale. The HGTV people, they don't talk about that. They just talk, oh, look at how much money we made. We sold this house for $400,000, and we had $30,000 in repairs, and we paid $330,000, so we made $40,000. Well, you didn't quite make that. It's less than that. But more importantly, what can the for sale by owner seller, what can he do to sell his house so that he can compete with professionals?
With the professionals?
Yeah. Can he? Is there something? Does he have to rely upon a yard sign? Are there any statistics tell us what the methods for sale by owner people use?
Well, interestingly, yeah, a yard sign, you're going to get that's where they're getting the largest referrals and response from. Yeah, absolutely. Referrals. So you're talking to your friends and families and neighbors, but also making sure that you're getting onto the multiple listing service. You really want to be up there, because that is, folks, the one key thing to always remember is that sellers or buyers are going online and they're looking for their homes. 80% are going online first to find their home. And frequently, based on that, that's when they contact the realtors. Yep. So it's really critical to be able to put it out there and having the right photography to support that.
Well, we're coming up on break time. We have a lot more to discuss, because in our next segment, we'll just be discussing the interest rates with Holly Robinson from Advanced Financial Group. This is Paul Fuqua. Please look forward to coming back to us at the Real Estate PB&J Hour on 1310 Money Talk and 100.9 FM. If you have any questions, you can also call in 497-1310. See you in a couple minutes.
Money Talk traffic.
64 westbound in Norfolk, slowing from Granby to the HRBT. And on the Hampton side, 64 eastbound is backing up to the Hampton River Bridge. Stalled vehicle southbound 664 at the Monarch Merrimack, blocking the right lane. In Virginia Beach, crash 264 eastbound before Independence is on the right shoulder. Wreck on the secondaries, Tidewater at Ocean View Avenue. Tony Hayes, Money Talk 1310 and 100.9.
Hi, this is Gordon Deal. Friday on This Morning, America's First News, tracking the latest developments in Eastern Europe as the U.S. pays attention to Russia's ongoing intimidation of Ukraine. Also, residents on the Atlantic coast keeping an eye on a weekend nor'easter, plus the cabinet secretary accused of being absent, how Americans got addicted to working so long, and former NFL player Mike Golick on the overtime rule. Friday on This Morning, America's First News.
Tomorrow morning, 6 till 8 on Money Talk 1310 and 100.9.
Let's face it, credit cards are pretty much a necessity.
New tires for the car? Here's my card.
I order takeout, use my card. And most of us just accept the high interest rates credit cards charge as a necessary evil.
What are you going to do?
Get a low fixed-rate credit card consolidation loan from Lightstream from $5,000 to $100,000 and pay off those credit card balances. Apply online, and you could get your money as soon as the day you apply. The average credit card company charges over 19% APR, but with Lightstream, you can get a fixed rate as low as 4.98% APR with autopay and excellent credit.
Now I can pay off my high-interest credit cards and save money with a much lower rate.
Apply today at lightstream.com/radio and get an additional interest rate discount. That's lightstream.com/radio. lightstream.com/radio.
Subject to credit approval. Rates range from 4.98% APR to 19.99% APR and include a 0.5% autopay discount. Lowest rate requires excellent credit. Terms and conditions apply and offers are subject to change without notice. Visit lightstream.com/radio for more information.
Exciting new things are about to happen.
What kinds of new things?
People everywhere creating happy new environments. For their families and their friends.
I like happy new environments.
When we've worked our junk removal magic,
your future will have room to arrive
and sing its happy song.
And you can count on us to sing along.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Last week, over 200 VIP golf carts were sold to the Hampton Roads golfing community. That means if you didn't already take advantage of this great deal, that we have less than 100 VIP golf cards remaining, so make sure to get yours now. Play 5 quality courses for one low price, thanks to your friends at Max Media and ESPN Radio 94.1. Play Ford's Colony, Cypress Point, Deer Run, Royal New Kent, and Chesapeake Golf Club for just $65. Go to maxmediastore.com before they're all gone. That's maxmediastore.com.
How's the stomach, Ryan?
Settling down.
Did you ever think you'd be up there, weightless in the space station?
I'm more like a boots-on-the-ground person, Todd.
Need to look at things from new angles.
Okay, but...
Take in the big picture.
Certainly is big.
How big?
As big as...
our winter furnace giveaway.
Actually, I was going to say...
That's it exactly, Ryan. I'll give you a furnace for only $9.95 when you buy the matching AC.
Gotta keep our team working in the cold months.
See? Big picture.
Feeling a bit queasy.
I know we're not making much money, but...
No, the lack of gravity.
Oh, I understand the gravity of the situation.
Not sure you do.
Houston, we have a problem.
OneHourComfort.com. Always on time or...
you don't pay a dime.
OneHourComfort.com.
We only have 138 furnaces to give away.
Still not feeling so...
Don't worry, Ryan. Just look out the window.
Not helping.
Independently owned and operated.
The Yuengling Shamrock Marathon Weekend is celebrating its 50th running on March 18th through 20th. Come find your pot of gold at the Virginia Beach Oceanfront. Claim your spot before the event sells out at shamrockmarathon.com. Welcome back to the Real Estate PB&J Hour on Money Talk 1310 and 100.9. Rose and Womble Realtors, Paul Fuqua and Joyce Carcaise continue their discussion of the fundamentals of home buying and selling.
Welcome back. This is Joyce Carcaise and Paul Fuqua with the Real Estate PB&J Hour. We were just talking about home mortgages, and we have Holly Robinson, our mortgage loan officer with Advanced Financial Group. She's going to give us a little bit of an update here on interest rates and a lot of other good things. So, Paul?
Yeah, Holly, one thing we are always queried is what is the prevailing interest rate? And it changes every day. I'm aware of that. Can you give us a quick rundown on what the rates are that you would be quoting today?
Absolutely. First of all, I'm Holly Robinson with Advanced Financial Group, and that NMLS ID number is 1112-728. What rates are looking like right now at this moment in time for our conventional products, it's right around 4%. FHA and VA loans are both at 3.75%. Your non-conforming or your jumbo loans are 3.375. And then if you are an investor looking for a conventional loan, you do have to have a conventional loan for investment purchases, about 25% down, that interest rate's about 4.5%, still paying about a quarter in a discount point. That comes down to about $562 for that discount point.
Again, I'm going to ask you, what is a jumbo loan?
All right, so a jumbo loan is speaking conventionally, is a loan amount anything $647,200.
know, being on the radio is not too bad because you can't see how red this lady is. She's a bit embarrassed.
I'm wearing red, Paul. I'm wearing red.
Okay. All right, now. I'm Joe Blow, and I came into your office this afternoon, and I asked about buying a house, and you said, yeah, no problem. And I said, well, tell me if I wait an extra month and the interest rate goes up a point, and I'm looking at a $400,000 house, how much am I going to lose in borrowing power if it goes from 3% to 4%?
About $25,000.
Oh, so I can't get 400. I can't get 400,000. I can only get 375. That's what you're telling me because of an interest rate change.
Yep, you got it.
Does that apply to all mortgage loans? Is that same kind of ratio? I guess it does.
It does. You know, again, it's all about the numbers, and we're talking about your mortgage amount, the amount that you're borrowing, your loan amount. So that's where the difference come in with qualifying and, you know, being at a starting point of a certain interest rate, and then when interest rates climb,
it changes everything.
Yeah, where you land.
Okay, now that you bring up a thing, what's the difference between pre-qualified and pre-approved?
Well, pre-approval formally means an actual commitment. So in mortgage language and in our world, that means it's gone through underwriting. The person that is going to sign on the dotted line to approve that you received that funding, that loan, that is where the commitment comes from.
Well, can you get a pre-approval before you have a contract?
That is a pre-qualification.
Well, hold on. Now, you know, when I've advised sellers, I've always said we want to be certain that we've got as close to a pre-approval as possible, meaning that they've gone through the application process and the only things that the approval are contingent upon is a successful contract, successful appraisal. Is that am I incorrect?
No, you're not incorrect at all, because as far as the pre-approval versus the pre-qualification, the term that I just used, pre-qualified, that both of them are credit reports are being pulled. The loan officer is the one that would provide the pre-qualification document that is submitted with the contract. And the pre-qualification it's not a quote-unquote commitment to lend. It is the loan officer has reviewed your credit, they've reviewed your income, we've gotten documentation, and as far as the numbers go together, you know, you are qualified to go and search for a home.
Okay. So it means that they've actually taken some concrete steps. They've actually signed stuff.
Certainly.
So a telephone pre-qualification, which I've seen, has no value, or doesn't have value.
Absolutely. We're still pulling a credit report. We're still...
But if they haven't signed anything, they haven't taken that big step towards approval, right?
We got a call.
We have a caller coming in. Hold on to that thought and give yourself time to figure out an answer. Go ahead.
All right, Paul. We have right now Jackie on the line here on the Real Estate PB&J Hour.
Jackie, how are you this evening?
I'm good.
What can I do for you, or what can we do for you?
So I'm probably going to look to sell my house probably in the next 5 years, and I was just wondering if you could tell me how would I expect that process to last? How long is that going to take from the time I put that on? I know you can't tell me, like, once I put it on the market, how long it's going to take, but once we have a buyer, how long do I expect that process to last?
That process can take, and we've got a lender here who can answer the question. The question, you may have heard it, is how long does it take from the time there is an executed, ratified, and contingency-free contract? What's the average time to turn around and actually close it?
45 days.
Okay.
45 days.
Yeah. Now, can that be shortened?
Absolutely.
And how can it be shortened?
When you have your buyers that are on point with properly giving the documentation when it's requested, turning things around, when you have employers that are able to verify employment, when people have their assets available, things like that.
Okay, but so an average time on a financed transaction is 45 days. We normally see 45 to 60 days. We've seen them in 30 days.
Absolutely.
And how does somebody do that? They've done all this paperwork. in
Yes.
advance.
So certainly in advance, and then on 30-day closings, and also with 45 days closings, any time frame closings, you're still looking for the appraisal, and then the items on the real estate behalf, your behalf. So ordering those termite inspections and any other inspections that are required, any repairs, those all need to be completed. Everything needs to be done in that 30 days in order for us to get to closing. A title search, clear title.
Let me ask you a question. Jackie, you're thinking 5 years out.
Right.
And have you at all tasted the water? Have you looked at or asked anyone to give you an approximate value of your house now so that you have a baseline? Because in 5 years from now, we don't know what the rate of inflation would be. We don't know what how well your house will have continued to appreciate. How long have you been in it?
We've been here about 22 years. And yeah, I do have a pretty recent appraisal. That was one of the other things I was going to ask you, is prior to us getting ready to put it up, what should we do? What should we look at to make sure we're ready?
Well, the first thing is you have to make up your mind that you're going to sell the house, and you're going to try and figure out why and where you're going to go when you do. That's one. We went over that a little bit last week, and we can certainly touch on that again. Now, Joyce can join in.
Yeah, and Jackie, another thing, and in a couple minutes here, we're going to actually talk about the chronology of a sale, which is going to really kind of show you from where you're starting at. Like, you're thinking this far in advance. That's fantastic, because you can get fixes done in advance. You can get your finances together in advance. Working with the lenders, great to do that early on. But we'll go over that in a lot more detail in our next segment.
Okay.
Have we helped? 5 years out, it's very difficult to project how well it's going to work, because we don't know if the market's going to stay as robust as it is right now.
Right.
Hopefully it will. If you wanted to sell it this week, as long as it doesn't smell like dead cat, we could probably smell it over a weekend.
And if I could, I would, but I just have nowhere to go.
I
That's
know.
the question.
And remember, in a market like this, okay, you sell high, you're going to buy high. And that's true nationally. Now, there are areas where the market is such that it's softer from the standpoint that the pricing considerations are lower for different products. Why people move from New York to this area, because what they see here for $400,000 would be costing them $750,000 on Long Island. So we have a natural advantage. And if you move into West Virginia, what we have here for $400,000, you could buy 100 acres and a 3,000 square foot house, but it'd be facing west, and you'd have to get there on a dirt road. However, I hope that's answered your question and helped.
It has.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there anything else?
No, that was really it.
Okay, wonderful. Thanks
for calling in.
You can always
Have a
reach
great
Joyce
night.
and myself at either Carcaise Home Sales or FuquaHomeSales.com, and we can get right back to you. And at any time you want to know what the value of your house is, and it's good to have that barometer set up so that every 6 months or every 9 months you say, okay, what's it worth now? Because appraisals are all tied to a moment in time. They are not, I repeat, they are not market guidance. They give you a value for that day, that man's opinion. They can be influenced somewhat by the market trends, but if you're in a hot neighborhood, things are going very quickly and the house meets the expectations, it could sell for as much as 10% more than an appraisal that was done 6 months before. Okay, so I thank you very much for calling. Hope you'll stay tuned and call in again. Are you there? Oh, we lost you. Oh, okay. Well, wonderful, because now we can get back to Holly, and we've talked about closing times. You're stating 45 days is the average. You can do it in less than that if everything's been done. As a seller, what do I want to see from you as the buyer's lender? What should I be looking for from you if you're representing you're bringing the buyer's bringing you in as their lender? What are you going to give the seller?
Well, I'm going to not necessarily give the seller, unless the seller is an individual. If there's a listing agent involved in the situation that's representing the sellers. I'm going to give the listing agent a phone call for sure to discuss how solid the buyers are and time frame, be able to be available and answer any questions that they have. And
how about in writing?
I mean, a solid pre-approval.
Okay. Is there any, Joyce, do you have any more questions for?
No more questions on my end.
Holly, we hope you'll come back and join us, and we hope that you'll stay here because there may well be other questions that are come up. Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on? No?
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Call in with any questions. Holly Robinson, 757-435-0354, NMLS ID 1112-728, Advanced Financial Group, and thank you, Paul and Joyce.
And if you have any questions during this call or during the show, please feel free to call in at 497-1310.
Okay, so let's get back to where we were before all this real important stuff happened. That's too much for me. I mean, we're looking forward
to... That's why we had Holly.
Hey, I'm getting ready for more snow. How about you people out there? Are you getting ready? Are you welcoming the opportunity to burn wood in the fireplace and tromp through the snow again this weekend?
Or switch on your gas fireplace?
Yeah. No, I don't have that. I actually had to go get wood off the wood pile. And that was a treat. Discovered there was a family of rabbits living in there.
Well, hopefully you got them out before you started the fire.
No, they were living in the wood pile. I'm not going to set the fire out there in the wood pile.
I don't know, Paul. I just was checking.
Hey, Dino's laughing his head off. Doesn't anybody have wood fireplaces any longer?
I love wood
here?
fireplaces, but I don't have it.
Snap, crackle, and pop. You think you're eating breakfast, but it's in red. Anyway, all right. We were talking about FSBOs. Let's go back to those guys. Because we know that we're professionals at what we do. And that's the line I've always used when I've met with a for sale by owner. I appreciate the fact that they're trying to sell their house. I know they're trying to sell a house. And many times their house may be something that I have a buyer for because we have a bank of buyers. If you have a house that meets the criteria that we have for as many as 30 people that are in my bank right now, we haven't been able to find anything that satisfies them. Your house might satisfy it, but we got to know what the price is. We got to know that we're protected because we don't work for free. It's this is a living. I actually make my living. Joyce makes her living by getting strangers to sign on the dotted line. That's kind of weird when it comes down to it. But one of the items that I know was on your list when you're dealing with the for sale by owner is preparing or fixing up the home for sale. Isn't that advice for the normal listed property?
We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and I think one of the key things that I would love to address with the FSBO is the fact that a lot of people will put time and energy fixing things up in their home that don't add enough of value or the value that they need, and also can be higher end than that price point dictates. And so they can end up spending a lot more than they need to sell that home. And I mean, I've seen that happen a couple of times with a couple of FSBOs friends that are selling on their own. And
they're still friends?
Yes. Yes, Paul. They are still friends. Can't win them all.
We sure as hell try. Oops, sorry.
That's right.
I apologize for the language.
Yeah, so no, I've seen that. And I think that's a big one. So I think it's being able to at least have somebody come in that understands the value of the repairs, the value of the renovations that you're doing in advance. That's really going to help significantly.
Okay. We have about 4 more minutes in this segment, Joyce, and I want to go into what, because we kind of led into it beautifully, the chronology of a sale. I know you compiled a date, a timeline on a house that we just recently sold in 2 days. And so it shows up on the MLS as being sold in a very short period of time. But tell us the reality on this house, because I know it, but the listening audience doesn't know what was done to make that happen.
Yeah, it's always interesting. You'll see, especially on social media too, that the house was sold in 2 days, and that's just not realistic. your first step is when you're out there talking to your client who's ready to list, you have that conversation. You sign the paperwork. So preparing all of the paperwork, the compilation studies. This is where you're talking about the asking price for the home that the seller is going to say they would like, and you're going to also share with them what you think would support the market. But at the end of the day, it's their call. You're doing that. You're going into look at the property condition, and this is where you're looking at getting a pre-home inspection, possibly. You definitely want to get your crawl space looked at for your termite moisture. Definitely do that in advance. It's not expensive, and it's going to pay off in the long term.
I'm going to stop you for a minute because I know you compiled a very nice calendar, and I'm going to give some dates here. Okay. November 8th, the week of November 8th, there were the initial discussions we had with the sellers, and you established a plan. Yeah. That was 8th through 11th of November.
I do want to go back, to just say they knew in advance when they wanted to sell, and it was the start of 2022. Right. So we did get a head start on this. Not all clients are like this, but this one in particular is the chronology associated with that.
However, there are certain, when we try and look at a house and we see what the plan A for the folks when they sell it, what are they going to do? Do they need extra time? Do they have the time to prepare, or they have to go off to a new duty station, whatever? But there's a timeline that we can condense as long as you're realistic in terms of meeting the expectation of what has to be done. And Joyce touches on inspections, absolutely critical. We, as realtors, we conduct an inspection of sorts, and it's cosmetic. It's like, hey, this house looks good when we walk up. No, this house doesn't. It's got cobwebs that'll take away your firstborn child if you're not careful.
Rust stains on the
all that stuff that contributes to a negative image, and you get one shot. First impressions are absolutely critical. You have one shot, no more. They can walk up to that front door that first time, and actually that front door impression is what really, really counts. We're going to have to take a break. We hope you'll come back to the Real Estate PB&J Hour on 1310 Money Talk and 100.9 FM. And call in at 497-1310 if you have any questions. We'll see you in a couple minutes. Bye.
Money Talk Traffic.
264 eastbound in Virginia Beach, a crash past Witch Duck. The center and right center lanes are blocked. The backup is to the 64 interchange. 264 eastbound in Portsmouth, stop and go between Des Moines Avenue and the downtown tunnel. Also bunched up 64 eastbound in Chesapeake from Battlefield to the high rise, and beat out crews already out treating the roads. Keep that in mind if you will be traveling. They are getting ahead of the snow that is expected to arrive late tomorrow. Tony Hayes, Money Talk 1310 and 100.9.
Here's Dave Ramsey with today's Ramsey Reality Check. Goals are just wishes unless you put some details to them. For a goal to work, it must have 5 components. The first 2 are it must be specific and it must be measurable. The third one makes all of the math come together, and that's when you put a time limit on it. Number 4 is your goals for them to work must be in writing. Number 5, your goals that are going to work must be your goals.
Listen live weekdays at 2 on Money Talk 1310 and 100.9.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
A new year comes with new excitement, new ambitions, new milestones.
Is this the year you pop the question, have a child, celebrate a major anniversary? At Diamonds Direct, we're here for you, now more than ever. With our vast selection of exquisite hand-picked diamonds, our world-renowned designer jewelry collections, our industry-leading warranties and guarantees, and our people. People with a passion for helping you mark any occasion with something that's both meaningful and timeless. And our commitment to providing exceptional value is stronger than ever in the new year. Whether you're just starting out on a tight budget or whether you're splurging on that 30th anniversary gift, Diamonds Direct will make sure you get the price that you expect from America's premier direct diamond importer. Welcome to a new year and welcome to Diamonds Direct, where extreme value combines with the ultimate luxury shopping experience to create that truly magical moment for the milestones in your life. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. On Virginia Beach Boulevard, across from Town Center.
Good morning. Time to get up and go to work.
Oh, no, I don't wanna.
Good morning. Time to get up and... No!
Tired of waking up to the same old job? Like your life is Groundhog Day repeating itself? This Groundhog Day, change it up and find your dream job. February 2nd is the Tidewater Job Fair presented by MillersHomeComfort.com at the Chesapeake Conference Center from 11 till 4. Choose from hundreds of career opportunities from several dozens of Hampton Road's top employers. For details, go to TidewaterJobFair.com.
Caliber Collision is hiring. Looking for a rewarding career with benefits from day one that pays weekly and offers a sign-on bonus? Show the caliber of person you are and visit the Tidewater Job Fair February 2nd at the Chesapeake Conference Center or apply on jobs@caliber.com.
Watching TaxSlayer calculate your refund feels like climbing to the apex of a roller coaster.
Here we go!
And flying down the tracks. At maximum refund speed. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
Welcome back to the Real Estate PB&J Hour on Money Talk 1310 and 100.9. Rose and Womble Realtors, Paul Fuqua and Joyce Carcaise continue their discussion of the fundamentals of home buying and selling.
Well, I'm glad to see somebody's still out there listening to us as we prattle on and on about real estate. There are a lot of better things to talk about, but we can't do that in this because this is the Real Estate PB&J Hour. I'm Paul Fuqua with Rose and Womble and
Joyce Carcaise.
Also with Rose and Womble, my business partner for a number of years. Now, Joyce, when we left on break, we were talking about the time frame. And we have a roughed-in time frame on a house we recently sold that was sold in 2 days, but it took a lot longer than that to get it prepared. Can you go over that almost week by week?
I can. So let's just put it out there. It's about 7 weeks it took us to actually get this up and listed. So week one, again, you're talking to the client and providing them with the studies. Week two, you're preparing all of the property information for them and establishing the actual listing price. Week three, you meet with the sellers. You're walking through the property again. We're going to spot the things that have to be fixed, from the outside through the inside, and then we bring in our professionals week four to actually come in and look under the house, make sure everything's okay, the termite moisture, and also if they want to do a home inspection, a pre-home inspection, we would have it done during that time. Week five, we are putting together all of the information that we need for the listing, and that's going to be the story that we have to tell about that house, the facts about that house. We're going to look at the established pricing, and we're going to get the final date that we're actually going to have that listing go live on the MLS. Week six, we've got the photographers out there, and we do the full shebang there. So the photography, the aerials, the 3D, and the virtual tours, which are absolutely essential for selling since, again, 80% plus of buyers are looking online first. So that first look is going to be everything for them. Week seven, we're looking at downloading all the data on the MLS, and then importing the photos and the tours, and then getting that ready to go live.
Now, all of this we can do in a far less amount of time, a much shorter period of time. We've done this within 3 to 5 days. There are certain key days of the week when you take a house and put it on the market. We prefer one particular day because it gives us 2 weekends as a new listing, and people like to see new listings. Now, in today's market, if you've done all the work, you've got all the cosmetic issues done, the house doesn't smell like a dead cat, and it looks wonderful, then you know that first person walking through is going to have a really good shot at giving you an offer. So this was over the Thanksgiving and Christmas time frame.
Exactly.
And after that 7th week, what happened? This is the good part. I like this. What did it go on?
We went on the first week of January.
Right.
We had that up and going. Yeah, we actually did the photography because we wanted to make sure that all of the Christmas decor was down. Did the photography on a Monday and aerials on Tuesday, and we were live on Thursday. We went live on Wednesday.
Right.
And had
I think
multiple
9 or
offers
10.
in within 24 hours. Yeah.
And the house sold little braggadocio. We actually priced the house at the highest range and above the highest range for the neighborhood because the house had been prepared so well by these sellers. And it sold for something close to $60,000 over that list price. And that was because of escalator clauses that were put into contracts. And if you're not familiar with that term, basically it says we as a buyer are going to increase our offer to you by X amount of dollars. It can be as little as $1,000, as much as $5,000, to a total dollar amount of X, whatever that may be. In this instance, it was in the 700,000s. It is predicated on what other contracts you get in. So if there's another contract that comes in and says this is going to be, we're offering $695,000 and our escalator clause was $5,000, so it's automatically up to $700,000 from $695, $700,000. If they come back, it goes to $705. Now it goes to $710. All those items are in standard practice and were done before. Now the issue comes up about the appraisal.
Exactly. I think, I had never experienced where you can actually bypass the appraisal. And that's actually something, Holly, maybe you could talk on that.
How can they do that?
Yeah, what instances can you do that in?
When the buyers are putting down a significant amount of money, if they're doing usually at least 20% down, the automated underwriting system can waive the appraisal. Now, they don't waive a full appraisal. There's still a picture that's gone out and taken and information that's compiled from the neighborhood.
They do a drive-by, the old drive-by, or a desk appraisal.
Right, a desk appraisal, actually. That's exactly what it's called. But yeah, there's absolutely instances where appraisals can be waived.
And once the contract is agreed upon and all the provisions have been signed off on by all parties, there still remain contingencies. There's, especially in a homeowners association. What time frame does that work under?
That's 3 days.
3 days from what?
From the date that they receive. So you receive it today. Starting tomorrow, that's day one. And you've got 3 days to review the homeowner association guidelines, policies.
As a buyer.
Exactly, as a buyer. And if you have any issues with it, you either address it within that 3 day period or that contingency is lifted.
Now, isn't there a statutory requirement? You cannot, as a buyer, you cannot waive the review of the homeowners association, or if it's a condominium owners association.
That's right.
We're going to have an attorney on who's in the next couple of weeks, who is very knowledgeable, and we'll be able to talk about this. What powers the homeowners and condominium owners associations have over your property. But if I'm not mistaken, there's a statutory limit on how long the homeowners association management has to produce those documents. I think it's 14 days.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I'll clarify that.
But it is written into code.
Yeah.
And
they'll wait till the last day.
Yeah, and so
they typically do.
But because they'll charge you. they'll charge you as a seller a dollar amount for a rush delivery, and it'll still be 3 days. So you sign a contract with Joe Blow and his wife, and they're going to buy your house, and until you've delivered those association docs, and 3 days have passed, they can walk away.
Absolutely.
And I've lost one sale in my career, and that's over 25 years, where a lady turned down a property that she fell in love with because the homeowners association would not allow her to grow her roses in her garden because it was a single family in a condominium association. It was weird. It's a single family condo, in essence, what it was. And they would not allow, under the rules, her to grow her roses. So she said, nah, I'll go buy something else. So lost the sale. That's, Christmas was bad. Anyway, it's not that funny.
Christmas was bad because Santa.
Yeah.
You were on the bad Santa list.
Yeah, we just finished reviewing the process of what happens when you start taking the steps to list. One of the things we'd like you to do is you can reach us at fuquahomesales.com or carcaisehomesales.com. We have a booklet that's the 31 tips on what to do to make your house marketable at the highest level for your neighborhood. And it's yours, and we can download it to you digitally.
Free.
Yeah, it's free. And we're quite proud of it. It works. And in fact, it's our Bible, but we make it available to you. And the timing is the key element. You have to know what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. And one of the things we ask you before you call us is, first and foremost, decide if you really want to sell the house.
That's true. And why do you want to sell that house?
Yeah. Is it because you're moving? Because of a job change? Or are you downsizing? What other, have you had any other strange reasons?
Divorce?
Oh, yeah.
That's not really strange. It's quite common, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, did I tell the story about the people in Norfolk that were divorced? They were divorcing, and they had this beautiful home.
Yeah.
Did I do it on the air?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell anyway. This wonderful couple, but they'd come across hard times in their marriage, and there's a beautiful house in Norfolk on the water, and they called me up and said, we want to sell the house. We're getting divorced. I said, fine. But let's get everything settled in and before you make that step. No, we want to do it now. So within 10 days, I had the photographer out there, and we got all the paperwork done. And because they had prepared the house so well, it just showed like a gem, like a museum, the thing was gone. Bam, we got a full price offer literally within days. And this was a time when the market time was 45 to 60 days for houses in that market. And so they were very pleased, and they started thinking about, well, now we got to divvy up all our stuff. Well, they started moving out. And apparently the effort was concerted, and it drove them together again. And they called me up and said, we know we have a ratified contract. We know all the contingency been removed. We know that we're liable for the commissions, and we know that we had a problem returning all the money to the buyers, but we're not selling the house. We're moving back in. Okay, all right, I guess so. And they did. And we pulled it off the market, and I kept in touch with them. Everything's going all right. They were very nice people and beautiful house. And then I get a call maybe 6 or 7 months later, come listed again.
Honeymoon was over.
Honeymoon was over. And it was rancorous. That was not a pleasant situation. And I asked, look, I'm going to do this, but I want to make sure here's the name of a guy who can move you. So we can make this thing happen, because I don't know if you want to remarry again. Same people. But anyway, that was my story, and I'm sticking to it.
And there's a lot of those stories.
Well, number two, one of the things on our list is when you think you're going to sell and you want to sell, what do? You pick up the phone and what?
Yeah, you want to talk to an expert.
Yep.
You want to get an assessment. You want to understand, again, what it is that you're getting yourself into.
Right.
What your time frame is, what your expectation is for moving out, what are your costs going to be, and then where are you going to go? And you better have your A, B, and C plan in place, particularly